always noticed it since we moved to the neighborhood.
All right, we're going to begin now, David, with you introducing yourself, telling us your name and where you went in the Peace Corps and the years.
Oh, wait, you're assuming I can remember the years?
Yes, I'm hoping you can.
Or where I went. So I'm David Favor. I went to Tanzania in East Africa. And it was right after I graduated, so it was like 23 to 25, basically.
Oh, you are the most...
Not 20, sorry, 03 to 05.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even do math anymore, let alone remember the years I was in the Peace Corps.
So it's 03 to 05.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And did you say it's Tanzania or Tanzania?
Tanzania. I know. Yeah, when I went to apply to the Peace Corps, I didn't care where they sent me. And so I told the recruiter, I'm like, you send me wherever you want. And they were like, all right, well, you took French in high school, so we'll send you to West Africa. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Even though I don't know any French anymore. And so I got my assignment and it said Tanzania, and like I have no geography abilities, so I'm looking all over the west coast of Africa.
You never heard of it?
Yeah, I don't think I had heard of it, right?
Okay.
I don't know. But so I was looking all over the west coast of Africa for Tanzania, and after 20 minutes I finally saw it over on the east side. I'm like, well, this isn't quite what they told me.
They blowed you wrong.
Yeah. No, that's fine though. Huh. Like I really did not care.
So you said just a second ago that you got in Peace Corps right after you graduated.
Yeah.
Where'd you graduate from and in what?
All right. The University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, so the Big Ten campus, right in the middle of Illinois. And computer science, which was a hot degree back in the day.
It was.
Yeah.
What were you intending to do with that computer science?
Oh, that's a great question. I went in. I wanted to be an architect, but I couldn't draw.
Oh.
And I was not self-motivated enough to teach myself how to draw. And like I was telling you in the sound check, I grew up on a large corn and soybean farm, and my dad is like a mad inventor type, so like in the mid-'80s he was working on GPS and yield monitors and all this stuff.
Wow.
And so instead of taking me out and learning how to farm, he would bring home computers, So I just was always around computers and always helping him with something on the computer side. So I think what it was just the path of least resistance. I enjoyed it. I knew I enjoyed programming.
Well, you were kind of a pioneer back then too.
Yeah,
Your friends weren't doing it, were they?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Like my house was always the first house to have any computer technology. Growing up like in high school, and and then after the dot-com bubble, is when I graduated. Like that had already gone through, but I didn't want to do it because of the dot-com bubble. Like I don't know. I think it was literally the dot-com bubble, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It literally was just the path of least resistance. Like there was a degree I could get, and I enjoyed doing it, and it seemed simple enough. So
that seems like good logic to me.
Yeah. I don't know if young people should have good logic yet. Well, maybe they should be a little crazier.
Well, but it sounds like you were a person who also would, if you got a good idea, would pursue it rather than say, no, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
But what if this happens, or what if that happens?
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
Do
you
it,
just
right.
do it, right?
Yeah.
I definitely did a few of those. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think that it's accurate.
So when did you first get an idea in your head about Peace Corps?
Oh. Yeah, so yeah, I wasn't ever you know, really passionate about the computer science degree. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but like it wasn't like my life's calling.
You weren't Bill Gates.
Yeah, I wasn't Bill Gates, and yeah, I think I'm a little more skeptical of things in general, but probably around like junior year, like I was just, I don't know, going through young person searching angsty stuff, you know? And what I had it narrowed down to was join the Navy and become a fighter pilot.
Oh, man.
Go to Thomas Merton's monastery in Kentucky and become a monk.
Gosh.
Or go to New York and just earn as much money as I possibly could.
What options?
Yeah, I know. I
Never
don't. They
heard
make no
anything like
sense.
this.
And so the Peace Corps was the compromise between all three of those.
So none of those three that you just mentioned really grabbed you.
Yeah, I mean they all grabbed me in their own way, right? But none of that. It must not have been like clear enough to have like a winner.
Well, let me ask you, did you communicate with the monastery?
No, yeah, I wish I did, but no, it was, yeah, and I didn't communicate with the Navy. Like I was just trying to figure out what I was doing next.
Those things just occurred to you and they seemed
Yeah,
romantic or whatever.
yeah, and so those were the ones I fixated on. And I don't remember when, like the Peace Corps actually occurred to me though. Like I can't even tell you.
Could it have been mentioned by one of your relatives or one of your friends at school, for example?
No, yeah, I wasn't. So I have a first cousin once removed, so he's about your age, and he served sometime in the '60s, but I don't think I ever knew that until he learned that I was going, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it wasn't like
You
he was
had
an
this
influence.
valuable resource you didn't even know
Yeah,
about.
I remember. It would have been senior year. All I remember is sitting at my desk in my like dorm room. I didn't go to Thomas Merton's monastery, but I did go move into the Catholic dorm and go to like Latin Mass and
Like what mass?
Latin Mass.
Oh, Latin
Mass.
Mass.
Like the old Latin Mass.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're allowed to do it anymore, but
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're allowed to.
yeah,
They don't.
I was not a good fit. But again, I was looking, right? Like I was searching for something, and I still don't know what I was searching for. But I remember somehow I ended up with a Peace Corps book of stories. So like RP, whatever we are, Return Peace Corps.
RPCVs.
There we go, the CVs. So I don't know if I went to like an information session. Maybe there was something on campus. Maybe I just came up with it. Like I came up with all those other ideas. Maybe it just popped into my head. But I had a book and I was reading the stories, and I forget what story it was, but like one of them, like I just started crying. Like this is it. Like
Wow. You mean one of the Peace Corps stories?
yeah, one of the stories in that book. I just
Do you remember which one it
no.
was?
I wish I could. Maybe it was like going to a post office. Like it was like the stories. They're all really simple, right?
Yeah.
But there was
But
something
some of
in
them
there.
are really profound too.
Yeah, like so it must have been. I wish I could remember, but
But anyway, you were brought to tears by that story,
yeah,
an experience of that.
yeah. There was just
PCV.
like this strong like pull towards it. Yeah,
And so did that propel you into action then?
yeah, it did. So it propelled me like I don't know. I guess I found the campus recruiter or something. I don't know how I found them, but I did. And then I guess maybe because I like options, I also interviewed with Teach for America. So it must have all been kind of like gelling the theme that I was going after.
Did you say Teach for America?
Yeah, Teach for America.
I haven't heard of it. What is that?
So Teach for America is, I mean, I don't know how, like it's pretty high end, so you have to be super motivated. And it's basically like Peace Corps for teachers in the U.S. So you join, they send you to an underserved school somewhere, and you try to, I don't know after that, but you teach there for a couple years. It's almost exactly like the Peace Corps.
Do you get a degree too?
No, you don't get a degree. Yeah, I don't know enough about all the extra stuff. I mean, you have to have a college degree at least. But like I didn't need a teaching degree when I interviewed, and I don't know what would happen at the end of 2 years.
Well, that's really interesting to me because it sounds like a program that I was in when I got out of Peace Corps. And it was called Teacher Corps.
Oh, yeah.
And it lasted a few years, several years maybe, and then I never heard about it anymore.
No.
I think it was just...
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't heard for Teach for America.
Me too.
Like they're really known, like the veterans of Teach for America, like they're known for like joining McKinsey and like doing all this more managerial, like high level stuff.
Oh,
it's almost like a badge of honor that gets you into some of these things.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
And then some of them, like we have a Teach for America alum in our neighborhood, Colin, and he is the principal at Capitol Hill Middle School.
Oh.
And like we hang out because we have kids the same age, and yeah. So
you were thinking about that?
Yeah.
And you were
so those were
Peace Corps.
those were the two that I actively pursued.
And when were you juggling these two in your mind?
Well, it would have been first semester senior year.
And what year was that?
99, 1, 2, 0, 1. Yeah, 2002.
2002. Okay. So,
Yeah.
were you having fun with it, or was it an emotional toil trying to decide what do I do?
Yeah, I remember like calling my mentor a few times during that junior senior period because he was a West Point grad. He said, David, like you'll definitely be fine in the military, but like you won't fit in. I'm like, okay.
You won't fit in the military.
Yeah, he said you won't fit in. Just be prepared for that.
Did you ask him why?
No, I should have. I was young. He was my mentor. I just took everything he said as gospel.
You saying I'm not a man?
Yeah, right? Right?
So anyway.
But yeah, was it angsty? Yeah, I mean, it was a little angsty in that I was trying to figure out how I was going to self-actualize, I think, or something. But I don't remember a lot of like acute angst. I think I was just following wherever the urge went, more or less.
Well, one way to do it would be to apply to both of them and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's what you did.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I interviewed at both. Yep. And the Teach for America interview, like I didn't prepare at all. Like I just went in and they want you to like teach a class and do like group work or something. It was pretty intense. So I was unprepared and like I thought it went fine, but they did not want me. And then the Peace Corps interview, I did the same thing. Like I wasn't prepared. I just walked in and
well, when you walked in, you had no idea where you would be sent, right?
Yeah, and again, like I said, I didn't care, right? Which
okay.
So
there's nothing to prepare, is there?
Yeah, right? I guess not. Yeah, so it was definitely more my speed than the Teach for America people.
Yes. So who did you interview with?
Oh, yeah, it was.
I don't need a name.
Well, I would not remember a name. It was a young woman, like on campus. So she was
a recruiter.
Yeah, it must have been like she was officially with the Peace Corps, right?
Yeah, she was a recruiter.
Yeah. So, yeah, I remember walking in, and she asked me like, "Well, where do you want to go?" And I said, "I don't care." She got really excited. She's like, everyone wants to like go speak Spanish or something. I'm like, I do not care. Like, and I didn't speak any foreign language, which seems like a strange thing to want to be a Peace Corps volunteer.
I didn't. No.
Yeah.
Most volunteers I've known did not speak a language where they got in. No.
All right. Well, I didn't know that. I just assumed if you wanted to go live overseas, you're probably pretty good at foreign languages.
Mm-hmm. That's a good assumption.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were some who joined because they could speak French or Spanish.
Yeah.
But not my acquaintances, not my friends.
Yeah. So I remember she really liked that. And then the only part of the interview I remember is the summer. What was it? I think it was the summer between junior and senior year. I spent this summer in Brazil with a host family.
Ooh.
So the engineering school at U of I had really great travel abroad and exchange student opportunities.
Uh-huh.
Like it was usually cheaper to go there than stay on campus, and they'd pay for stuff. And so my mom figured this out, and she picked out Brazil, I think, for me. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Great.
So I was just talking with her about that experience, like it was me with a girl slightly older than me, probably like a few years out of college. It was my host sister and then a host mom, and they had like a live-in housemaid, and we all lived in this apartment. And like I loved the housemaid, like she was amazing. And she, like I couldn't speak Portuguese, and she couldn't speak English, and it would just be like the two of us in the kitchen in the morning, and we communicated just fine, like it was amazing.
Neat. How long did you stay there?
It was like 2 months, 2 to 3. It was most of the summer, so it was technically a summer semester. But I told the recruiter this story, kind of like I told you, and I just remember she really liked it. She really liked that story.
Oh, sure.
And so I left that one feeling confident, or feeling that it went really well, and then I guess it did go really well. She might have even said, "Yeah, like we'll take you" or something. I don't know.
On the spot?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a memory of it, some sort of feeling like that.
Did you go back after this interview and tell your friends, "Hey, I'm gonna go with Teach For"?
I don't know if I knew the Teach for America fallout yet. So, and who did I tell? I don't have a memory of telling anyone. Do you have a memory? Sure. Telling people?
Yeah.
When you got in?
Yeah, they were incredulous. What? You want to do that?
I do remember, I was in the Catholic dorm, and some of the much more devout students were incredulous that I wasn't going to do missionary work instead. I said, well, what's the difference?
Yeah, I see that.
So they were really upset by that. I do remember that.
How long did it take you to get notified that you had been accepted? Quite a while, or
I can't remember.
A few weeks?
Yeah. What? Like my next memory after that interview. Yeah, I don't even remember when I got notified where I was going.
They asked you, the young lady asked you where you wanted to go, and you said you didn't care.
Yeah, so I was just waiting for the surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then eventually they said, yes, you're accepted, and you're going to...
Yeah, Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Yeah.
And did you say, oh...
I said, where's Tanzania?
Yeah, so would I.
It took me a long time to find it.
Was this a telephone call or was this a letter or something?
I can't remember that either. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. But at any rate, when you were notified that it was Tanzania, you'd never heard of it.
Yeah, I just remember getting out a map.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like a paper map. It was like an atlas.
Yeah.
I was trying to find Tanzania on the west coast of Africa.
And then you didn't have a phone. You didn't have an iPhone, so you
No, yeah, right. I still had a
Google.
flip phone. I had the old Motorola flip.
So you had to do research the old-fashioned way on Tanzania.
Yeah, I get out the paper atlas.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
All right. So when did you actually go in?
It would have been.
You said 2003.
Yeah, so 2002 was my first semester of senior year, and then I graduated in like spring of 2003.
Okay.
And I think it was probably the fall.
The fall.
My first niece was born in August, and I was there for that, and then I left like a week or two later.
Okay. Okay.
It's my memory of it. Like my mom and I went out to stay with my sister, and I think she was born while we were out there. Anyway, yeah, it would have been September, I bet.
What did your mom think of you leaving for 2 years?
Oh, my poor mother. My poor mother. Long-suffering mother. I think my parents were very supportive, like, and proud. Yeah. I remember Mom and I went to Mass like maybe a few days before I left, and there's a song in like the post-Vatican II songbook. I think it's like "Be Not Afraid." Like I go before you always. Come follow me. And Mom and I just both started bawling. I think it was that one. But at some point we were both like bawling in church, like. And it was the same song that did it, you know.
I know that song.
Yeah.
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 That's wonderful. So you flew off to where?
I think DC.
DC? A lot of them did.
Yeah, I think that was the staging. It was DC.
So it was you and how many others?
I should have studied for this interview. Just like teach for America.
Well, the reason I ask these specific questions is that the people I've been interviewing have given me this information.
No way.
Yeah, a lot of them.
See,
know.
I'm a slacker. I'm a slacker. I think there were like 50 to 70 in our class.
Okay. And did you get word at this time, not only where you were going, but what you would be doing? Yeah,
so I already knew before I got to DC what I would be doing. And
how'd you get that? A letter or something?
Yeah, it must have been with the Tanzania. It must have all come at once. Yeah, because I knew before. At least that's my feeling, memory.
And what did they tell you would be doing? Yeah,
so a Canadian NGO had been in this little town village and had brought in 5 computers to the middle of nowhere. And so I had a computer science degree, so I think they were like, all right, David can go run this computer lab in this little village. Wow. So there's like 400 students and 5 computers, but that's why they were sending me, because like the Canadian NGO was pulling out and they had these computers. It also happened to be the village of the Prime Minister, so he probably was able to pull a lot of strings.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Who was that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
you had in-country training.
Yeah.
Where was that?
That was in Arusha. at least can remember Arusha.
And how long did it last?
That was, what was it? I think that was like 3 months.
All right.
Right?
And about how many people were with you, trainees?
Yeah, so it was the same group. So I think like 50 to 70.
Okay, and they were from all over the country, right?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy meeting people like that?
Yeah, like those 3 months were pretty fun. Yeah, training was great. It was really fun. We had good Swahili teachers. Like the teachers were great. Like they were all Tanzanian. And
Oh, yeah.
like all the, hanging out with all those other Peace Corps people. Like you're all there. You have this big thing in common that you all were crazy enough to join the Peace Corps. So there's
right.
just that, like
that bond.
Yeah, it's an immediate bond.
Yes, it was an immediate bond for me. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you had Tanzanian teachers.
Mm-hmm.
The first you'd ever met, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then we lived with a host family, so we all had our own host family that we lived with for 3 months.
When you lived with that host family, what did you learn from them? Did you learn any language, or were they just simply providing you with food and shelter?
Yeah, I mean, with food and shelter. I remember being like fond of them, and them being fond of me. There were a lot of kids. There were like a couple grown daughters I think lived with them, and then a couple younger sons that were like middle school age maybe. And like I just remember being taken in, like, and accepted. So I have
So you
fond
felt
memories of
comfortable.
that. Yeah, as comfortable as you can, like being dropped into the middle of Africa.
Yeah. What's this village? Is it a village or a town or what?
Where we trained?
Yeah, where you trained.
Arusha. So Arusha's a big town. So you have Dar es Salaam is the capital over on the coast. Then you can cross over the ocean a little and go to Zanzibar. And then Arusha is inland, and it is the taking off point for like Kilimanjaro and safari.
Oh.
So it's a tourist town.
Okay.
So you could go either way. Like you could very easily get over to Kilimanjaro, or there was a ton of safari outfits there that would take you up to the Serengeti.
So what was your training program like?
What was it like?
Language, culture?
Yeah, so a lot of language because none of us spoke Swahili.
And that's what you were going to be speaking.
Yeah, like the official language of Tanzania is Swahili, and then they have hundreds, I think 100 and some, but it's over 100 tribal languages that they speak first, and then there's Swahili. And then when you get to secondary school, it's all English, technically. Like the
more Swahili?
Yeah.
English?
Yeah,
really?
The instruction should be in English. But only a small percentage of the kids can truly handle that.
Now, did anybody impress on you in training that it's important for you, David, to learn the language where you're going? Because a portion of the villagers, that's all they know. Yeah.
Like a huge amount of our time was a crash course in Swahili, right? So, yeah, I would say so. Again, I didn't take it as seriously as I should have. It wasn't that I didn't take it seriously. It's just I don't have an affinity for languages. So,
did you have in the back of your mind, or at least the back in your mind, that you'd get by no matter what?
Yeah, it didn't worry me at all.
Yeah.
And I was a good student. yeah, I can't be a bad student. So I was, keeping up with all the Swahili lessons. But I was never as fluent as a lot of my peers were. So in our class, it got split up to, they called them, I don't know what they called them back in the late 60s, but ours were environmental volunteers and then teachers, basically.
Okay.
And maybe it was like 2/3 environmental, 1/3 teachers or so.
And you were a teacher.
And I was on the teacher side. So the environmental volunteers were like digging wells, creating mama groups that, would raise cows or goats and sell them, and water projects, raising chickens, I don't know, like all that kind of stuff.
How you can improve your lot in life.
Yeah, so they were called, they're just general volunteers, and they were even further out than we would be. So they were, like, their language, they all had amazing language skills, because there was, like you said, there was no fallback, right? And then my challenge was, at a secondary school, all the teachers speak English, because you have to technically to instruct. So they want to speak English to you, because it's not often they get to actually speak to like a native English speaker.
Yeah.
And their English is better than my Swahili when I get there, so they're, it just naturally like falls back to English really quickly. My secondary students speak English, so like we'd go back and forth sometimes depending on their English skills. And then I knew enough to like get around the market and talk with little kids and that kind of thing. Like it wasn't like I didn't know any.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember feeling like I couldn't communicate.
Adequately.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you were there for about 3 months, and did you feel like those 3 months were very profitable for you?
Yeah, I think I mean, just the decompression time, right? Like, it probably was really important. So, because you were like halfway in, halfway out, so you were still around all these other Americans, these other volunteers. You were seeing them all every day, going out at night with them, playing soccer matches against Tanzanians and all sorts of stuff like that. And but at the same time, you were with the host family and getting assimilated, right? So that's really, that 3 months was huge. Did you have a transition?
No, not like that.
No,
I was with a host family. Well, our country training was not in the Philippines, it was in Hawaii.
Wow.
Which is silly.
Yeah, right. It's not even close.
Yeah, I spent 10 weeks in Hawaii.
On vacation.
It was like being in heaven.
Yeah, right.
Yes. And then I wound up in Manila.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we recommended after our training was over that don't do this.
Yeah, it's not helping anyone.
And right after that, I don't know if they took us at our word or what, but there's been no more training in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's all in country, which is way more valuable.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah. Who knows what would happen if they had just done that to us? Like, yeah, the transition out to the village was hard enough on its own, after 3 months of being prepped to go out.
Yeah, but you had a lot of experiences during those 3 months that you could use.
Yeah.
When you got to your assignment.
Yeah.
Right?
Tons. And then you also you build these really strong bonds with the other Peace Corps volunteers as well, so you had like that fallback to communicate with them. Like, so you had a little support network already built, for the culture shock.
Did any of the trainees get deselected during the 3 months? And do you know what I mean by that? You ever heard that word before?
I haven't heard deselected. Some sent themselves home.
Mm-hmm.
If that is anything like deselected.
No, it's
okay,
not. No. I just wondered because in our group, several people were deselected by Peace Corps.
Oh.
And they said, you're out of here.
Huh.
For various reasons.
We had one guy who halfway, like through the 2 years, he got sent home for behavior issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then some just self-selected out. Like
Yeah.
a couple, like a married couple left after a few months after they got out on site. Maybe they made it like a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember anyone, the Peace Corps, like during training being like, you're not keeping up or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
that they don't do that.
Yeah.
I hope that they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, I didn't know that.
So you then were set to go for a better part of 2 years after you left your training site.
Yeah.
What did you know about where you would be assigned?
Nothing.
Nothing until you got there?
Oh, you know what they did? Yeah, they've really improved since you training in Hawaii.
Yeah, I hope so.
At some point, like maybe like a week or two before we were, like a few weeks before it was time to like go out and live there, you got to go out for a site visit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if like there was a volunteer already there that you were replacing. So I got to go out and spend like a couple days with the volunteer that was currently there.
Man, that's terrific.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, and she took us all around.
Introduced you to all...
Yeah, so she introduced us to all the
man.
teachers, was like, hang out with this teacher, avoid that teacher. Like
Oh,
if you need
great.
something, go here. Man, I had it cush. I'm feeling the Peace Corps is sounding less impressive all the time.
Yeah. Now, this was the town where the Prime Minister was from,
Yeah.
and there were 5 computers.
5 computers, 400 students. Yeah. Yeah.
What's
So
the name of it? I haven't heard.
I know it's because I've been panicking that I couldn't even remember the name of my village.
Oh,
And
no.
thankfully, a couple minutes ago, it popped into my head, so maybe other stuff will shake free. It's called Endisac, or Endisaki. Endisaki. And it was, I mean, all the roads were gravel, bumpy, going from Arusha out to Endisac.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, like, you went, anyway, doesn't matter where it was, but yeah, everything was bumpy, dusty, and I think the bus ride was probably like 7 or 8 hours, but only like if you had a car, if you had a Land Rover, it was probably like 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Quite a
So
difference.
yeah, the buses stop and the buses go a lot slower, and you get in a Land Rover and just cruise.
On the buses, are you also riding with chickens and pigs?
Yeah, so that, I mean, so I guess I must have gotten on the bus for the site visit. I don't remember that. Maybe because we were all going together or something, but yeah, I definitely remember getting on the bus to go out for good. And they have those like nylon plasticky bags for luggage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a big one of those.
Yeah.
I had way too much stuff.
You had way too much
I had
stuff?
way too much stuff, right? Like, I should have gone out with nothing. Like, I needed nothing, really. Is what I needed. Just get on the bus and go. And the buses, they're so crowded. They're so crowded.
Yeah.
Like
People
that was a
riding on
culture
the top
shock.
too?
No, we didn't have anyone. Did we have anyone on the top? But there was no room. Like they would pack it, so the aisle was packed.
Yes.
Like just no room, like all the way up. And I remember getting to the village, and like I didn't know how. I think I ended up like climbing out the window because there was like no way for me to get out. And barely being able to get my bag out. Like I almost got my bag out, or I didn't. I don't know. I mean, I did get it out, but
Did you get out by yourself?
yeah, because we must have all been together. Like I think there were 11 of us in our little region. 2 teachers, and the rest were environmental volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
So we must have all kind of gone out at the same time, but I can't remember. I think I remember other volunteers on the bus, and then we kind of peeled off as we got to each of our villages.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, there was no welcoming committee for you, I take it.
no, 2 teachers came down. I must have met them when I was there. They took me to lunch, and
Oh, well,
that's all I remember. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And where were you going to live?
So the secondary school had teacher housing. So concrete 3-bedroom duplexes. So there was a shared wall, and then each duplex had a large main room and then 2 bedrooms. And then outhouse in back, basically, and some sheds. So I had a teacher's house all to myself, but every other teacher's house was like packed, right? Because they had families and multiple kids.
So you were not with a family then?
No, I had my own place. I don't know.
Is that the way you wanted it, or that's the way?
That's the way. I need my own space.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, or to go take a nap, or
Well, back in my day, you had no choice. You were going to live with a family.
Really?
Yeah. You don't like that?
Well, I really appreciated the family for the training. I wouldn't have wanted to live alone then. But for 2 years, that's a long haul,
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's amazing how much it's changed.
Uh-huh. Well, I think that they try stuff and they find that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Let's do something better.
Yeah. Well, thank you for pioneering, so I didn't have to train
Yeah,
in Hawaii and
I feel like a pioneer
live
sometimes.
with the family.
Yeah. So you had your own place, and when did you find out what classes you were going to teach, and a schedule? What was your schedule going to be?
Yeah, so I don't know if I knew before I got there or if it was after I got there, but obviously 5 computers and 400 kids, I'm not going to be super useful if that's all I do. So I ended up teaching math, like algebra and geometry level math.
Secondary.
Yeah, and that's really what I did, what mattered.
Algebra and geometry and trigonometry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like freshman, sophomore level high school for us, math.
And then you did computers on the side?
I did it on the side, yeah. Like I think they wanted to have classes, but what it really turned into is like there was a computer, like there was basically like a computer club. I think if kids wanted to come, and eventually that like kind of went away.
While you were still there?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't even. I should be able to remember. Was there a volunteer after me? I bet there was. It was the Prime Minister's town.
Oh yeah, it should have been. Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't let that gravy train get away.
Did you ever meet the Prime Minister?
Not that I remember.
Well,
No.
it seems like you would remember that.
You would think so. I must have at some point. Like he must have, like not officially, but I must have been around him. he must have come through because he still had a house there, I think. Who knows?
So did you did you have any co-teachers, or were you just teaching your own classes?
Yeah, can you believe it? Like a 20-something-year-old straight out of school with no experience. I had no co-teachers. Just like, here you go. Here's the book they use.
So you weren't looked on as
Godspeed.
Yeah. You weren't looked on as a model of how to teach.
I hope not.
Yeah.
No. No, I mean,
you were just filling a spot, right?
yeah, I think basically it was a spot they didn't need to pay for, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was probably it. That was probably the upside.
And
again, I'll carry, I don't think it's guilt, but it was definitely different from my peers. Like, that's what they really wanted to do. Like, the other teacher in my region, he was a teacher before he left. And another close friend, she now teaches like in inner city Baltimore, right? Like that was her life's passion. And so they did amazing stuff with their students. And it's not like I didn't, again, it was like Swahili class. Like I taught, I enjoyed teaching, I was there to help for whatever they needed. It's not like I was derelict of duty.
Yeah.
But I didn't go above and beyond like the more passionate volunteers did. And again, it's because my primary thing was I wanted to find myself, right?
And you thought that you could do that
Yeah,
in
right?
that setting.
Yeah. Like, why did you go?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a whim more than anything. I mean,
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like
silly.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let's see what happens. Maybe this will shake something loose. I mean, it's got to do something. It's Africa for 2 years in the middle of nowhere.
Were you, did you have culture shock for a while?
You know, that's a good question. Like, nothing dramatic, no. Like, what would have upset me about their culture? I think that's going back to like my initial interview. I think my stories of Brazil, I think that's where I learned how to be somewhere very, very different than what I was used to. And I think maybe that was like the connection I was having with my interviewer. So, like, I remember during our staging in DC, we had like a couple days of like classes in a conference room. And one of the big ones was culture shock, right? So like they listed out all these scenarios that happen in Tanzania that no one thinks anything of, and that would probably make us very uncomfortable. So they did a good job prepping us like that. And I never struggled with it because I guess it made sense to me what they were telling us. Like, look, this is how they do it. Like, you can't change it. That's not what you're there to do.
Yeah.
So it was almost like this really unique opportunity to have to be like, oh, like, okay, they use corporal punishment on students, right? Like, go get your switch and come in and get whipped like 10 times for minor offenses.
Yeah.
Right?
Did that mean that you needed to follow suit?
No, they wouldn't make me do anything. Yeah. But like it wasn't my job to lead a crusade there. It never felt like my job, at least. Maybe I should have.
But it was your job to go along, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I always thought my job was to assimilate. Like I was the one, and that didn't mean doing things that I didn't agree with. Like I still had principles, but it also didn't mean saying they were heathens or barbarians. And
so you didn't ever paddle anybody or
no
get a switch.
No, and the male like a lot of the teachers were like, you need to, but like the kids were so good, probably because they were getting whipped by other teachers. Like I don't remember having any like disciplinary problems at all.
Were your teachers that you taught with, were they interested in what teaching is like in the States and what life is like in the States and how much money you had?
Oh, well, yeah, everyone was interested in how much money I had. Right?
They assumed you had plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my Peace Corps salary was $30 a month or something.
Ooh, that's really low.
50? Or is it 30 a week? It was something laughably low, but
it was enough.
Yeah, like you eat beans and corn porridge and rice, and that stuff cost like 50 cents, right? So really it turned out that whenever you went to the big city, you had all this money. So they weren't wrong. Like I didn't have kids, I didn't have anything going on. No one was interested. I think it just must have been, no one was interested in talking about teaching with me in the U.S. But they were very interested with the U.S. Katrina was there.
Oh,
Katrina happened when I was in Tanzania. And I remember walking in. I'll tell it. I remember walking into the teacher's lounge, and I didn't have a radio. Like I was just blissfully unaware. So any news, like I would walk into the teacher's lounge, and the teachers would like accost me with like this international news. So I walk in, and they're like, "David, there's all this flooding. There's all this flooding happening in the U.S." And one of them says, "And President Bush hates black people." I'm like, well, I guess he could. It's not probably too far off. But whatever they were hearing about the response, it came out as President Bush hates black people.
Good Lord, how did that happen?
I think they just had a problem with the response, didn't they? Wasn't there a lot of drama around the Katrina response?
Because it did most of the damage in the black community, right?
Yeah, and then they just couldn't get the rollout. I remember stories about Bush, and like he kind of had his cronies in a lot of positions. So, although I take that now, obviously. That's my memory, but again, I can't remember the village name I was in, let alone.
So did you have the impression that they wanted you to defend Bush? Or
I wouldn't have defended Bush, poor Bush. But no, it wasn't like adversarial. It was just like a statement of fact that they were excited to share with me.
Yeah, and they wanted to see your response.
I suppose they did, yeah. But I mean, they also all knew I didn't have a radio.
Why didn't you have a radio? You could have had a radio.
I could have, yeah.
Why didn't you?
I didn't want one. I don't know.
Why not?
I mean, I can guess looking back. One, I was lazy, right? Not lazy.
No, I don't think you were lazy.
I don't think you get all the way over there being lazy. But I'm very much like the path of least resistance, right? So I wasn't there with a radio. So I'm sure I wasn't going to like make any effort to like go get a radio.
Yeah. It's just that some people would have gotten a radio right away so they could keep up on the news, international news.
I never had any desire.
Okay.
The Peace Corps is where I learned to, and all my liberal friends still yell at me, really enjoy The Economist. So like maybe every couple months we'd go into Arusha, every 3 months or something, back to the really big city.
Yeah.
And it cost $5, which on $30 a month is a lot of money. But like I would buy one and read it end to end. So yeah, I got news like every 2 months or something, whatever issue of The Economist I brought home with me.
You didn't have a Peace Corps subscription to something I did. It was Time
Really?
magazine. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Did they send us something? That sounds familiar. They must have tried to send us something, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe,
I don't remember.
maybe they didn't. But we had a choice of either Time or Newsweek, and so I
Okay.
selected Time, and I got about half the copies, and then the people at the post office kept the others.
Okay. Kept?
Yes.
I need a quick potty break. I had a
Oh,
little-
okay.
I had a little coffee. You can leave that.
All right, so we'll resume now, and you are teaching in your assigned town, and you've been there for some time now, and you're doing quite well. You're adjusting quite well. Is any of that a lie?
Well, quite well, maybe. Yeah, I didn't have any adjustment. Nothing really dramatic or anything like that. I'm sure I was frustrated at certain points and tired of people asking me for money all the time. Or
Oh, so there was that going on.
yeah, right. Like anyway, like hey, there's a white teacher in the village. So sometimes you just get random people showing up.
Would even your friends ask you for money?
Yeah, they would ask for something.
Mm-hmm. And did you think to yourself, well, I have a lot more money than they do,
Sure.
and they know that,
Sure. Yeah.
so what's the big deal? Do
But-
you look at it that way at all or not?
Yeah, no, I didn't get like morally upset that they were asking me for money. Like it made sense,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my parents could send me $100 bill, and it's like who knows how much to whoever. No, what I always found interesting. So like I lived on this campus of teachers, and I forget, maybe there were like 10 houses, or I don't know how many. There was enough for almost all the teachers, right? And a lot of families. And I wasn't super close to the one that I shared a wall with, but between my house, every house had a garden. So where my garden was, I was close to the family that had the garden next to mine. And I didn't garden, so I let all the teachers use my garden and do whatever. But I was really close to that family. The dad was the teacher, and he was really outgoing, really gregarious. And they had like 3 kids
Mm-hmm.
that were amazing. And it was the kids and the mom that I had the deepest connection to.
Mm-hmm.
And the dad I liked, but he always wanted, like, he would ask me, he was kind of like the cool kid, right? Like, he kind of wanted to be in politics and wanted to build a bigger house, and he wanted a motorcycle. So he's like, David, have your parents send me a motorcycle. And
Oh my.
I'm like, and like you said, like they easily could. And I don't know why. Like I was never tempted to do any of it, though. Maybe I'm cold.
Well,
But-
once you start that, I mean,
Yeah, right. Like
then
where do you
everybody's
end?
going to gang on.
Yeah, right. It's a fine balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with requests like that was like he thought a motorcycle was going to make him happy. And I just remember thinking, like, a motorcycle is not going to make you happy. Like, this is no different than what we do in the U.S., where, like, I just want a bigger SUV, or I want a bigger house, or I want a prettier wife, or... And it was the exact same thing, right? And I could never communicate that without people looking at me like I was horribly mean back in the States. I'm like, they are exactly like us. I mean, maybe... Yes, there are people in the village that we just need to send bags of food to so that people aren't starving in the world. Yes, that exists.
Mm-hmm.
But where I am, which is pretty far out and a pretty small village, they are just like us. Like, there are these amazing teachers that I would love to just learn from, who love their job and are passionate about it and are doing amazing things that I can't even get close to doing, right? Like,
But you'd like to.
yeah, I mean, in some general...
Yeah, in some way.
Yeah, not as a teacher, like that wasn't my passion, but like I just had just amazing respect. And yeah, if I could do something equivalent like that in my life, like that would be a good life.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other teachers who are horrible. And then there's teachers who are kind of in between. And so that kind of money, like, I never cared. Like, I think my parents somehow, like, supported some students. Or, I don't know. Like, we bought books. Like, I had my parents and their friends, you know, because everyone in stateside wanted to do something, right? Like, so I think we bought a ton of math books at one point.
When you say we, who do you mean?
I mean, my parents and friends sent me the money, and we bought textbooks so everyone could have a textbook.
Where'd you get
right?
the textbooks?
I don't even remember. I must have gone through the school. I must have been like, here's the money, get the textbooks so everyone can have one.
Okay. Well, I think that was great.
Yeah, so that was
So
relevant
everybody
to what
in
we were
your
doing.
school could have one.
Yeah, so all my students could have a math textbook,
Mm-hmm.
Or everyone that wanted one. So yeah, like that.
How far along were you when you did that?
I wish I could remember.
Halfway?
I don't think it was too far. Because probably by the second year I was jaded and I wouldn't think to do anything like that. So I think it was probably sometime in the first year, like getting my feet wet and trying to improve things still.
You just said something that's interesting to me. By the second year I was jaded, you said. Now, I'd like you to elaborate on that a little bit. What made you jaded?
I mean, jaded is strong. I'm using words to make it funnier to me. But yeah, by the second year, like I was really ingrained in that community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was no way I was ever going to be a native of that community because I always knew I was leaving. So I remember that thought.
But you were
really
resident.
clearly. But 2 years is a good commitment, right? So there is some ingraining that happened, and with that, kind of like I was saying before, you start to see, instead of it being, oh, Africa, people that need to be saved, and I'm going to go in and do amazing things, it just becomes your community, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With all the good and the bad that comes with it. And so by the second year, I'd be like, yeah, we could get books for everyone, but only a third of my students could actually understand instruction in English, and the bottom class doesn't care at all,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And because they know either they're girls and that's going to affect something somewhere, or like they're going back to their remote place, like all that culture shock stuff that we would be scandalized by, like some of it was just their reality, and like they're just not going to learn, right? And that doesn't mean, like, if they want a textbook, I'm happy to buy them a textbook, but there was less of that idealism there that, like, we can make all of this better, you know? And it was more like, to me it was, how do I settle in to that community? Like, I don't want to make anything better in the second year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to be with Mama Niseta next door and go teach and be a good teacher for them and be there for students who need something from me, and
Sounds great.
be with my community. So it just, for me, it really turned into into that, and I didn't really care about making anything better, right? And there was some self-awareness that I wasn't going to, right? Like I knew I wasn't like Matt, the other teacher, or Victoria, that were just amazing teachers, and it was their passion.
But you were a good teacher.
Yeah, I was a dedicated teacher, right? Yeah.
And your students, for the most part, liked you. And
yeah, like the ones. Yeah, it's hard to tell who likes you when you're the one white guy in the village, and they just want their picture taken with you.
Yeah.
So that they can have a picture. But yeah, like again, I didn't have like any riots or revolts in the class or anything like that. So, and I remember liking a few of, like the handful of the overachieving students that were always asking questions and wanting to do math problems, and yeah, like I enjoyed that. But I didn't do a good job of like pulling people up, you know. Like if you were self-motivated, like I was there for you, and if you weren't, like I was going to go through the syllabus and do my best to teach it. And I enjoyed all the classes, the advanced class, the not, like there were different personalities. I remember there was, they must have separated it like that, because I had like an advanced class, and then I had like a medium class, and I had like basically a remedial class. I don't think I even taught the syllabus to the remedial class, because it was just a waste of time. So I think I have some memory of like teaching. Like I'd try to teach something and no one would know like some component of it. So I'd be like, okay, we're going to go back and try to learn this, because otherwise we're just wasting time. The medium class, I went with the syllabus and people were, you know, kind of in between. But in that class, there was a girl named Stella, and she was funny, and I would, like whenever I'd call on her, I would say, Stella!
From like Marlon Brando.
Yeah, and of course no one in the class has any idea what I'm doing, but I think it's hilarious.
Oh, I do too.
So I did it to her for like 2 years, basically.
Did you ever try to explain that to Stella?
I don't think that maybe I did. All I know is I remembered I'd do it, even though everyone looked at me. Because everyone's already looking at you like you're nuts, you know? Like, there's no way no one is ever not going to look at you like you're...
Did you have any ever have any problems in your community that the Peace Corps had to help you with?
No.
Okay. So
I don't think so, no.
You didn't have too much to do, it sounds like, with the Peace Corps while you were in the Peace Corps.
Yeah, I mean, they came out and did some site visits and checked in, and I think, I mean, I know everyone got together after a year, like officially, for like a week or two, somewhere in the middle of Tanzania. And we go to like Dar es Salaam sometimes, and we'd see that's where they were headquartered, so we'd see Peace Corps admins then. But it wasn't a lot, and it's not like they would even call me up very often or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't need it either, so maybe if I needed it, they would have been more involved.
Was there ever a time when you thought that it might be a good idea for you before the end of your service to do something different?
What do you mean different? Like
become an agriculture person, or
like remain in the Peace Corps, remain in the country, but get
Corps,
like a different Peace Corps job? No,
yes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not my MO.
Did anybody that you knew? Any of your friends?
No, there was no jump between teachers and environmental volunteers. Not that I know of, at least. Like
I just wondered, because sometimes you meet volunteers who accepted an assignment and then after a few months decided, oh no, I don't care for this.
Yeah. Well, I guess I did that with the computer lab, because technically my You know, my assignment was run a computer lab, and it was like I taught math, so I don't know if that counts.
Well, I think it does.
But no, not like you're saying. Did you have? You've just heard stories, or did you?
Well, I did. Yeah, I changed assignments. I went
did?
from a math teacher to sanitation work.
Oh no way! I bet. And which one did you find more?
Sanitation work.
Yeah.
But I like teaching too. I
Yeah.
really like teaching.
Yeah. Because obviously you did teacher corps
Yeah, I wanted to get
at some point.
credential
Yeah. Oh, okay.
to teach in Oklahoma, and the only way I could do that
Was teacher corps.
yeah, well, not teacher corps, but something that would give me the credentials.
Yeah.
Because when I got back, I didn't have any.
Yeah. 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 What do you do when you get back from the Peace Corps? That's the question.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Jumping ahead.
Yeah, but tell me about some of your adventures that you and some of your compatriots might have had.
Oh. Well, compatriots like Peace Corps volunteers.
Yeah, right.
Compatriots.
Or
locals.
Tanzanians, if you travel with them.
Yeah, so this was another way that I was weird. I mean, it's just all of the volunteers. Obviously, if you're in the Peace Corps, you would think you would like learning languages and traveling, and I didn't like doing either one of those things.
You didn't like traveling?
No, I still don't like traveling. Oh my god.
So you were happy where you were?
Yeah, once I got there, I was happy. Like, I loved new experiences, but like, I'm greedy. Like, if I'm gonna go somewhere, like, I want to at least go for like a couple months and try to like really live there at some level.
Yeah.
You know? But once I'm there, I'm like, well, this is my home, and I don't want to leave my home. But I was really lucky. We had, like I said earlier, we had 11 volunteers in my region, and we were all really close. And because I had one of the nicer houses and the other teacher did, everyone else was out in the boonies and in like a hut, right?
Yeah.
So we would, a lot of times we'd meet at my house. Which was great. So I always had like other Peace Corps volunteers coming in, spending the night. Like, my house was open to all of them all the time, you know. And that group was really, really tight.
You still friends with some of them?
Yeah, I don't keep up well. Like, if we've had a couple reunions for that small group that I've gone to, and they've been amazing. But I think we all have kids now.
Yeah, right. That'll do it.
Yeah, right. So I hope again someday. Like if it starts again someday, I would.
Will.
Yeah, but again, I'm not. I'm fine how things are, so I'm probably not going to be the instigator of a reunion. But I would definitely go. So there was just a lot of built-in adventures with that crew. Just in our region.
Just getting together with them. Not what you saw, but togetherness. Right?
Yeah, like one of the environmental volunteers, I think we lived on a extinct volcano. Wasn't too high. But like, we biked around the volcano, you know, like one day, and all the, like, kept getting flat tires. Just that kind of stuff. Holidays, we'd get together. We got some like cow tongue that we tried to cook once.
Cow what?
Tongue. I think they had that you eat any meat. The meat was the worst part down there.
You'd rather eat the tongue than the.
No, I'd rather eat none of the cow. It's funny. Like, volunteers who were not vegetarians became vegetarians, and volunteers who were vegetarians started eating meat again.
Which were you?
I was not a vegetarian. I didn't become a vegetarian. It's just I enjoyed the beans and rice more than the cow. But you couldn't say no to the cow because it was a big deal. If someone's cooking meat for you, like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So,
They're expensive.
So you have to eat it, yeah.
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 So, do you cook your own meals?
In the Peace Corps?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was capable. Mama Niseta next door fed me quite a bit, though, because I'd just go over and sit on the floor while she cooked with the kids, and then
she'd give you
I'd eat
food.
with the kids. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, looking back, I should have been giving her money or something.
Mm.
Didn't occur to me.
Huh. Have you kept up with any people that you knew, Tanzanians?
No. Yeah, that. No.
Any thoughts about going back to visit?
I dream
You
about
said you
it.
don't like to travel, but
Yeah, yeah. But that would be a special case. It wouldn't surprise me if someday I did go back, I guess. I don't have like a strong desire to go.
we've got 2 little kids right now.
Yeah, I have 2 little
you're not
kids.
Going to do that.
But I didn't have a strong desire before the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have some, like I dream of, like it doesn't happen as much, but for like the first 10 years I had recurring dreams that I was back.
Oh,
You know.
you mean after you returned to the States?
Yeah, I just had these repeat dreams of being back.
Oh, wow.
Like working out the guilt of not staying in touch with anyone. But
Oh, you think that's what it was?
I think
These
so.
dreams?
Yeah, there's some aspect to it. Yeah, at that age, like, I had just, and probably even now, but like, it was easier to tear the Band-Aid off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew I wasn't going to go back, and I knew mostly they would just ask me for money, and
But you did. I need to understand. Were you besieged, or is that way too strong a word?
no, that's way too strong a word. Yeah.
What would it be? Give us some idea of how often people would approach you for money in your community.
In my community, like, it wasn't really bad, right? Like, students always needed money. Everyone always needed money. The neighbor I told you about, like, he always had some project he wanted me to help finance.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, some random people would just randomly ask you for money because
You're white.
you're white.
Yeah.
It was a lot worse in the cities. So, like in Arusha, you would walk down the street and like flocks of children would like run after you, screaming "Mzungu, Mzungu," which basically means white man, white man, white man, and they would ask you for money.
Yeah.
And it probably worked a lot of the times with the tourists because you have these cute little homeless-looking children like following you. But it never worked with me. I'm like, you guys are fine.
Yeah.
Go back home, eat your beans and rice. And, so no,
Would you
it
say
wasn't.
that-
I wasn't besieged at all.
Would you say that your community had a lot of poverty in it?
No, right? Because I was in that village. I mean, any American would think it was poverty, right?
Yeah.
But no.
No. People were not starving.
No one
They
was
didn't look
starving.
emaciated.
No one looked emaciated. Everyone looked healthy. Yeah, it was like a very like middle class community.
Now, what about that town that's some miles away from you, Arusha?
Yeah, so I mean that's a big city, so there you see more of it, right? But is it any different than like our homeless population?
Uh huh.
Like I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
I think it was just like big city, you know. Like I'm sure their ghetto was bigger. I don't know. Or
But you didn't go exploring and to try to find out.
no,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not.
Have you influenced anybody to join the Peace Corps?
No,
Have you ever tried?
no. Have you?
Sure.
Ah, Good for you. I might now. I wouldn't. Like, I would be encouraging. I think
Yeah,
I'd be
not
encouraging.
in a heavy-handed way.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah. No one's ever asked
looking
me about
around,
it.
seeing if anybody's interested.
All right. Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons that I do this,
Yeah.
because I'm hoping that anybody that stumbles upon this and looks at one of them might get interested.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's really amazing you're doing it.
Well, thank you. I love doing it.
Well, good.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do something.
Now, is there anything that you thought about telling me that you haven't yet, or that I haven't allowed you to?
No, you let me ramble on quite a bit. You know,
Another way to ask that question would be, do you feel like the Peace Corps transformed you? And if you do, in what ways?
yeah. So those are, yeah. So the first, kind of to your first question a little more.
Mm-hmm.
What I long for and what I would dream about when I get back, when I was back, and the part that made it like all worth it was that family across the courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were so close. Like, their kids would just like wander into my house.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you feel like you were part of that family?
yeah, 100%.
Uh-huh.
And that, like, that is the core to me. Maybe like I haven't thought about it in a long time, but like that's the core of what I think I was hoping to get from the Peace Corps. And it's probably why it meant so much to me. And it's almost ineffable, like when they would, they grew corn, and after the corn harvest, they would keep the cobs, and for about a month or two, instead of cooking inside with charcoal, they would cook outside with corn cobs as the fuel.
Oh.
And so we had banana trees between our house, and while Mama Niseta was cooking, like, I would sit there with the kids and she would just be burning corn cobs, and like the sky is like, it wasn't like, it was pitch black to anyone probably that you and I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't pitch black to me because I had been even further out, but like, it's just stars, corn cobs, like these three kids, like speaking Swahili with them,
Yeah.
running around with them.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
And that didn't help anyone, right? But
I think it did.
like, that's the core of my experience.
Yeah.
That, or the teachers that I was telling you about. Like, there were two teachers, and one of them especially, that I can't even remember his name now. He and I were really close, and he was such a good man, and he would just sit and talk with me, and he was a good teacher. He cared about his students so much.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ever, like, he was always checking in on me, always. And that doesn't have anything to do with teaching or learning the culture even. Like, that's not even cultural. It's
Getting to know one.
and understanding that, like, this big cultural divide is not a divide. Like, yes, they use switches, and yes, they, approach things a lot differently than we do, but like, none of that mattered. Like, it wasn't like I learned culturally how to understand him. It was just a direct human connection, both of those things. Like, that teacher who took care of me and loved me, and he didn't have to, and the family next door that took care of me and loved me and didn't have to. Like, there was no cultural, like, I didn't figure out their culture. Like, my Swahili was horrible. like the students, like Stella, like all that stuff. It's like all that little stuff. And yeah, I don't understand Tanzanian culture nearly as well as a lot of my other volunteers would have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I had deep relationships in spite of that.
Which was terrific.
Which is an amazing lesson.
Yeah, and probably they didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they did, right? Like,
no, not everybody did.
Yeah, not everyone, but yeah, it didn't preclude them one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, like your second question, I mean, that kind of addresses your second question, but like one of my other really vivid memories, like again, I joined with this very explicit idea that if I could just get far enough away from our society, then I could like have enough vision to be able to make everything make sense. I didn't even know what wasn't making sense. I just had this urge, like if I can just get out, and then I can have a different point of view, and everything will make sense then, right?
Or put it in perspective.
Yeah, put it in perspective, or like, I don't know, whatever this passion I think we all natively have, maybe it will put that in perspective or give that meaning or direction. And that's why I was going into the Peace Corps. And I just remember the morning I was leaving my village for good, like it was early morning, and I always loved the village early in the morning when it was quiet and like kind of hazy and foggy. Like it was so beautiful. And I was sitting there early, like waiting for the bus. And I was just waiting. I was waiting for the epiphany. Like I'd been waiting for 2 years for the epiphany. And I'm like, all right, like it's gotta happen now. And it didn't happen. And I got to Dar es Salaam, and like maybe now, maybe when I get back to the US, when I go to that restaurant with my parents, all right, maybe in a week or two. And the epiphany never happened. And like, I was really bitter about that for a long time. Like a really long time. I mean, not bitter, right? Like I'm using superlatives. But I expected, like, I put in 2 years. Like, the whole point was to have the epiphany at some point. And now that I'm older, like, I think the epiphany was there. Like, it was all those connections.
Yes.
And I just couldn't see it when I got back because I was waiting for something bigger. Or I wasn't expecting something big enough, right? Like I would say those connections are even bigger than an epiphany.
Absolutely.
Like they're the only thing that
mattered.
Yeah, in life.
Yeah, right.
So it took, like, I'm 43 now, so it took 20 years for that to start to settle and be like, oh, that was 100% what I needed to do, and it gave me way more than I could have ever expected.
So you
have to go through the desert for 20 years afterwards.
So you have to pronounce yourself a big success when you came to that realization.
Yeah. Do you ever have, when we were in the Peace Corps, the joke was, if you ask an RP CV? VC?
CV.
CV. I don't know why I can't. If you ask them about their time, they will tell you invariably how amazing it is, right?
Yeah.
They will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go back and read their journals while they were there, the journals will tell you how miserable they were the whole time they were there.
No kidding. No kidding.
So that's what I would say. You know?
Did you keep a journal?
I did. Yeah, I have
you
them.
Did?
They're up in my attic. They're probably like fried to death. I should go save them.
You write in them every day?
I did. I was pretty vigilant.
I'm glad you mentioned this.
Yeah. One of my saddest moments was the only time anything happened. I was on a bus and I just threw my crappy old backpack up I doubt it had any money in it, and someone saw it was the white man's bag. And this was like a year and a half in. So, I don't know. So someone swiped the backpack. Like, I went to get off the bus and the backpack was gone. And it had one of my journals in it. And, like, it was the most devastating. I was like, oh my gosh.
Huh.
Like, that's like however many months that
Oh
it's just
my,
gone.
that's awful.
And maybe there is money in it, but I didn't care about money.
Yeah,
Like,
you can always make money.
Dude, like, if I saw someone taking it, I would be like, yeah, here's $10, man. Like, if you care enough to steal it, can I just have my journal?
Mm-hmm.
You can even have the backpack.
That's
So yeah, so I do. I have journals. Yeah, it's back when I thought journaling would bring about an epiphany. So thankfully, I have some of that. Maybe someday I'll pull them down.
I think you should,
Yeah.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
But probably not with a 4 and a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Cool. Let's wait till they both get in school, and then who knows what else will shake loose.
All right.